All right, DCI San Antonio is here, and Natalie and I are in the FloSports Studio to break it all down for you. But first, the headlines.
The Boston Crusaders and the Bluecoats met last night at DCI Denton. They were both undefeated going into the evening, but now only one is undefeated. And spoiler alert, it's the Bluecoats.
The battle for the top six is continuing to heat up, and San Antonio will be the equalizer. Since 2011, we've seen that the champion in San Antonio will move on and become the DCI World Champion 8 times out of 12. We'll see what happens.
And DCI Houston is tonight, where we'll see the Blue Devils back in the mix after a week off of competition. They're going to be up against the Bluecoats, who came out victorious last night at DCI Denton. And we'll also see a rematch of Phantom Regiment and Carolina Crown, which should be super exciting.
All right, Natalie, let's take a closer look at the rankings and where things stand as of Friday, July 18th, one day before San Antonio. So last night in DCI Denton, as you were saying, Natalie, a very close race between the top of the order, both breaking 90 between the Boston Crusaders and the Bluecoats, only 0.05 of a point there. And really, it seems like it came down to the color guard caption where the Bluecoats came out on top. Further down, we've got Santa Clara Vanguard, Carolina Crown, Phantom Regiment, and really we don't know where the Blue Devils fall in this entire mix because they haven't competed in almost an entire week. And if you know anything about the Blue Devils, when they have a week of rehearsal days, which is not often, they're going to come out and do a pretty big increase in that score, especially tonight in Houston. That will be kind of our first look at what's going to happen maybe tomorrow. It's really a toss-up of who could earn a medal this year. San Antonio will be that first chance to see, but World Championships is still 3 weeks away. We've got a lot of work to do. These corps have so much work to do. There's a lot of improvements still to be made. These shows are such in flux, so it'll be fun to keep track. Natalie, you want to tell us about what's going on down the order with regard to who's possibly making finals this year?
Yeah, the bubble watch is going to be something that I'm going to keep my eye on because those scores are really close. And as we've been saying throughout this entire show so far, a lot of corps obviously haven't been competing at the same shows. There are significant sometimes gaps in one show and the next. So these numbers are always going to be in flux, and we're going to see a little bit more solidified at San Antonio. But for right now, on that bubble watch, I think are the Colts, the Madison Scouts, Spirit of Atlanta, and Pacific Crest. We haven't seen Colts in a while. They haven't had a score posted in a couple days. So they're one to watch in that mix to see where they end up shaking out. Madison Scouts, they made finals last year. I think that they really have that fire under them to continue to make finals, so I think we're going to see some fight from them as well. Spirit of Atlanta, their show is super engaging and a lot of fun to watch. Their brass sounds fantastic, and I'm really excited to see how they progress their show over the next couple of weeks. And Pacific Crest, an interesting one, but the fans out there really seem to think that they've got something with their show. Obviously, their rep is really diverse and a lot of fun to listen to. They sound fantastic. They're moving really well. So they might be a dark horse to see what happens on that bubble watch.
Yeah, I think it's always funny when you see repertoire come out, and for Pacific Crest this year, you're looking at Better Have My Money mixed with some Hans Zimmer and some Giuseppe Verdi, and amongst others. So it's clear that the crowd is getting behind Pacific Crest this year. I've been loving watching what they've been doing the last couple seasons. So, and same with all those other corps, of course. Madison Scouts really came out strong. We didn't see them for a long time, I think until Kiwanis, Thunder of Drums. But when they came out, the fans loved them. I was having such a great time watching them. So it will be really interesting to follow who gets to earn that one more extra day of their season, earn that Saturday performance, and turn that kind of into a victory run for themselves, because a lot of the times for those corps, making it to Saturday is the prize. It's the final finale for them.
So we talked a little bit about the finalists in the world class. Let's talk about the open class.
Yeah, so open class is kind of a difficult thing to read this season, with the Spartans having their transitional year into world class, and the Blue Devils not coming out to open class prelims and championships this year. It's kind of interesting, but gold, of course, consistent year over year. They always have great shows. I've loved watching them. And so right now at the top of the order, we see Blue Devils B. But their season is done. They finished at the SoCal Pacific Classic, the SoCal Classic Pacific Championship.
The SoCal Classic Pacific Championship Finals.
That one. So they finished their season there, and they're not going to be on the road anymore. And, I said it before, I think it looked like that. It felt like the end of their season. It felt like they were just, at a spot where you don't expect to see an open class core until August most times. But gold right there with them, like I was saying. And I have to say I have a soft spot for Sweeney Todd. Having played it in Inc. when I was in the Blue Devils, it's so cool to see them pull that source music into an entire production, and it's so entertaining. That's kind of the read right now in open class. You can obviously see where the rest of the cards are falling for the moment. Once again, a lot of these are going to change over the next few weeks as more open class cores come together and compete directly against one another. So now that we've looked at open class, it's the second year of all age, Natalie. So what are we seeing in the all age world?
We're not seeing a whole lot of movement in all age in terms of standings, just because, as we all know, the all age cores are weekend warriors. Their show opportunities are few and far between. So we don't see them as often on the road. But as we can see, the Reading Buccaneers are leading the charge. Their show is really fantastic this year. I have enjoyed watching it when I'm able to, and obviously they sound amazing. We saw a lot of these cores go head-to-head at the Drum Corps Grand Prix, so we have a little understanding of where things might shake out come the beginning of August, but we also have the Bushwhackers Invitational on July 26th. We're not streaming it on Flo, but that'll be the fans' next big opportunity to see a lot of these all-age cores in action.
The DCI Williamsport show streaming on Flo this year. It's going to be a great opportunity to see kind of a full spread of the all-age groups before they make their way to Indianapolis for the all-age championships. All right, Natalie, let's take a look at the caption leaders. Who is running the board right now when it comes to GE, brass, guard, percussion, etc.?
Now, obviously, we haven't seen all of the cores go against each other under the same panel, so take these numbers with a little bit of a grain of salt. But at the top of the table for general effect, we've got the Blue Coats. They got a 36.4 in DCI Denton. That is a massive score, and can't reiterate enough that there is still 3 weeks left for these cores to hone in on that excellence that they're hoping to attain by August.
Well, and if I can cut in, we talked last time about how important general effect is when it comes to winning shows. I think it's pretty clear that general effect really helped the Blue Coats kind of vault into first place last night in Denton.
Agree. And guard is an interesting category always to look at. Once again, these scores were put up by different judges at different shows. So an interesting turn of events and twist, I would say, in all of our conversations right now is the Mandarins are at the top of the table when it comes to guard with an 18 that they scored last night at DCI Waco. Obviously, not a name that we're used to seeing associated with the guard caption, but I think that Mandarins have a whole lot of forward momentum that is in their favor going with their show overall this year. The fans love the show. I personally love that show as well. So I'm happy to see a little bit of a switch up, but obviously you can't ever count out any of the other guards that we're used to seeing take this guard caption home. You've got the Blue Coats are doing fantastic things with their program coming off of their World Championship Finals gold medal last year. You've got Boston, who are the reigning guard caption award winners. The Crown Guard, I think, is fantastic this year. They're stealing that show from everyone across the board, in my opinion, and they're doing some really hard work. Obviously, you can't ever cut out the Blue Devils. So excellent, so precise with what they're putting on the field. So it's kind of anybody's game right now, and I think that's what we're seeing across the board in a lot of these captions. We've got Boston Crusaders also winning brass and percussion and Vig. putting up some massive numbers last night again in DCI Denton, but those margins are slim.
Yep.
So expect to see some switch-ups in San Antonio and from now until the end of the season.
Yeah, one thing I saw last night in the recaps at Denton, the Bluecoats actually won guard, and I know that that's been something that they've been really working on improving for the last, I mean, obviously forever, but really focusing, I think, for the last 5 years since COVID, since 2019-18 era, the guard has been just taking steps forward each year. I think it's really awesome to see them rewarded in that way. Obviously, the Boston Crusaders color guard is the spectacle, is a huge part of their show. And so, it'll be really fun to see where these things fall. Mandarins, as you said, they have an incredible color guard, but never are we seeing them pop these numbers that are above really these kind of contenders for a championship medal. So awesome to see. Regarding percussion, I have to give a shout out to Jeff Prospery. We put a clip up on social of him just running out to see the Boston Crusaders drum feature. First it went to tenors, then snares, you know how it moves through. But just, they are phenomenal, and every time we see more of them playing, whether it's rehearsal or on the field, it seems like they're playing better. Harder music than we've heard, better than we've heard, and so just incredible.
Yeah, I think percussion, as always, is an interesting caption to look at. You've got Santa Clara Vanguard back in the mix. They won drums last year. We see Boston edging them out just by a little bit at Denton, but you can't count out the Troopers. Mm-hmm. You can't count out anybody else in the game, and I think, for me, that's the caption that I'm most excited about. I think there's going to be a massive back and forth in percussion the entire rest of the season.
Yep.
And as you said, these books are hard.
Yep.
But the fact that they're still achieving this amount of excellence this early in the season, relatively speaking, is fantastic to see. I just want more drums action. I'm ready for it in San Antonio, and I'm really excited to see who comes out on top.
Yeah, we get to be on the field tomorrow in San Antonio, and it's just that's the best part of the year when we get to go kind of get our first reads on the floor, on the field, not WGI anymore, but on the field and hear from 20 feet away, 15 feet away. We visited Vanguard and Bluecoats. We haven't seen Boston Crusaders up close yet, and all these other cores. So, it's going to be a great weekend. So that's kind of the competitive wrap-up. Obviously, a lot of things are still up in the air. Saturday is going to solve a lot of those problems for us, tell us where we need to be pointing our attention. Fans are going to be looking at the recaps. I know I will. So keep an eye out and follow along on FloMarching. But now let's take a look outside, away from the field, see what's going on around the cores. What did you see on social media this week that caught your eye?
So drum corps media overall has exploded over the last couple of years in terms of just production quality, and what teams are producing every single season just seems to get better and better. One thing I want to call out in particular is a full-length documentary that our friends at the Blue Stars created. It's called The Summer of My Life, and you can watch it for free on YouTube. I totally recommend checking out the doc. It was shot beautifully by our friend Jack, who is the media manager over at the Blue Stars, and if you really want to get an insider look into the Blue Stars organization, as well as just how it works and looks being on the road in a drum corps for 90 days, that's the documentary that you should watch. I loved it from start to finish, and just want to give a shout out to it and make sure that if you haven't seen it already, go tune in on YouTube. Yeah,
there's not a lot of feature-length productions, videos that come out from the cores. A lot of times they're on such a quick schedule that they do more short-form content and weekly stuff. But when you get to see a full sit-down for an hour plus and just take in drum corps and in its most raw form, but edited beautifully and shot wonderfully, just a great time. Sit down and watch it and enjoy. So I wanted to talk about somebody who caught my eye. I was scrolling on TikTok the other day. I try to keep up with what the kids are doing, and I found this channel. His name is, I think, Benjamin King, and he is actually the drum set player for Genesis, and he's been doing these daily vlogs for the last week or so, and I've just been loving watching them. He seems like such a fun character. I think I said this, he plays drum set, and so he's just like taking videos of himself on the field, playing drum set, with the corps behind him, or he was on the stream. He got a multicam little feature, and so he included that, and I thought that was so funny. Clearly having a great time and kind of giving fans an inside look at what's the day-to-day, like, you know, eating meals, hanging out with friends, rehearsing, and then putting it all together for a performance in front of thousands of fans is what it's all about. So check him out, give him a follow, and make sure you watch Genesis. Look for that drum set player.
Obviously, we have San Antonio on Saturday, which you should definitely tune in for. But looking ahead to what is streaming on FloMarching over the next couple of days, we've got DCI McKinney, DCI Northern Ohio, DCI Nashville, where Andy is going to be on the ground getting some behind-the-scenes content. Obviously, we've got the Southeastern Championship in Atlanta as well. And then I'll be on the road at the Midwest Classic in DeKalb.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that new stadium. Well, old stadium, but new for DCI, the Nissan Stadium in Nashville. It's going to be a huge venue. Getting to see drum corps in an NFL stadium is always so crazy. I always loved performing in the Buffalo Bills Stadium when the show was up there. So it'll be such a great experience for those performers. Hopefully a great experience for me because I'll be on the field covering them.
Well, usually around this time is where we see a crown set come in, so maybe something to look forward to. I know there's already one crown on the field at one point towards the end of their show, but is their show over? Are they going to put some more beats on the field? Are they going to add in a crown? Who can say?
Yeah, and you know what? I actually wonder if anyone's going to pull out anything hidden or that they haven't done before in San Antonio. And then maybe it's something different from a different corps in Atlanta. This is the time of year where these surprises kind of come out from the drum corps that they've been cooking up for a while as they continue to try to raise those scores, make their difficulty go up. All right, Natalie, that wraps up our DCI San Antonio preview. I don't think we have any more else to say. Tune in live to watch it all tomorrow, and thanks for watching.